Back on Get Up at the bottom of the hour. And yesterday I did this green list on moves that should take place this offseason, and it got so much reaction I wanted to share it with our group today as well, and you see them there. Number 5, I'd like Devontae Adams traded to the Jets for obvious reasons. Number 4, Stefon Diggs traded to the Cowboys. Number 3, I want Justin Fields to wind up in Pittsburgh. Number 2, I believe the Las Vegas Raiders desperately need to move up and get a quarterback. And number 1, the New York Giants making the aggressive move up to draft Drake May. There is a lot of pressure on Brian Daboll, the coach of the Giants, who a year ago today was the NFL Coach of the Year. Now he finds himself very much on the hot seat. But he made his bones, if you will, by turning Josh Allen into Josh Allen. Feels to me like Drake May's got a lot of similarity there. That feels like the move. When you hear about teams talking about trading up in the quarterback conversations, you think the Giants might get involved?
I think they need to. Because as much as Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll came together from Buffalo, the feel-good feelings surrounding this pairing, they've sort of dissipated over the last season. Last season was not good, and then you saw the coaching staff issues that they've had. Brian Daboll went from a Coach of the Year winner to now people are wondering about his future. Greeny, I had a GM text me this week saying, keep an eye on Brian Daboll and what the Giants could do if this season goes bad. And already mentioning possible names. Like, the season hasn't even started, and people are looking at the Giants situation and saying that might be an open head coaching position.
Well, and look, you see where they sit. They're at number 6, which is where they currently sit is too low to get one of the top 3 ranked quarterbacks in this draft, and probably too high to take any of the others. So it's a little bit of a no man's land. And for those who were saying, well, how about Daniel Jones? Some think he's better than others think. But, Tim, you made an important point about him, regardless of how good you think he is.
Player. He's never healthy. You can't count on him. That's the problem. He's in Jimmy Garoppolo territory in terms of that. Like, even if you think you could build around him, he hasn't proved to be healthy enough that can be the case. And so I like your idea. And, look, I think that if you can have the opportunity to get Drake May, because, presumably in this scenario, the first 2 teams picking did not select Drake May, then go do it. Look, you said a lot of similarities between he and Josh Allen. Like, if you know that you were getting Josh Allen, like, every team in the league would be like, yes, I'm interested in that. He's been one of the most gifted and talented players in the National Football League. So I think that it makes a ton of sense. The Giants need to solve their quarterback problem. I believe Drake May would do that.
So if you're home watching, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, wait a minute, Greeny. The Patriots would have to be willing to trade out of that pick.
That was my
Why would they do that? Well, let me show you a tweet from our Matt Miller. He's our buddy here, our draft specialist, analyst, works with us here at ESPN. And he tweeted this. He tweeted, the Patriots should not draft a quarterback at number 3 overall. This roster isn't ready for a rookie quarterback and would just set his development back. This isn't Houston with a Hall of Fame left tackle and solid supporting cast. This is closer to Carolina, and we saw how that worked out. Interesting take. Harry Douglas, what do you think of it?
Oof, man, that's a tough one, because if you're the New England Patriots and you feel like your quarterback of the future is in this draft, you have to take him at number 3. You have to. I don't think you can wait until other years to say, hey, we're gonna fill other areas, and then maybe we can be in a situation to draft our quarterback of the future in 2025, 26. It doesn't work like that. If you feel like your guy is in this draft, if you're Gerard Mayo, if you're Robert Kraft, you have to take that guy at number 3 overall.
What do you think of that, Kmart? The whole idea of if you're not ready to support a young quarterback, you shouldn't take one.
No, absolutely not. I'm big on, if you have conviction, strong conviction, I love this guy, he's the one, you gotta get him. Especially, and this is what I brought up to you yesterday, Greeny, when I saw your list. My first thought wasn't, this makes perfect sense for the Giants and Drake May. My first thought was, why would the Patriots allow the Giants to jump ahead of them to take a quarterback that theoretically the Patriots actually could use? We've talked all year, every season, every offseason about how critical quarterbacks are, and the Patriots do not have their answer in the building. And you have a new head coach, new regime. They need an answer quick.
Timmy, I want to get the final word on this from you, but I'll just throw a quick thought in there. At this time last year, or leading up to the draft last year, the conventional wisdom was, well, whichever of the quarterbacks goes to Carolina, he's the one in great shape.
Yeah.
They've got Frank Reich. They've got
Josh
Andy
McCown.
Dalton ready there as the bridge quarterback. They've got Josh McCown. That's the one you want to go to. And Houston is the vast wasteland who just hired a defensive-minded head coach, and that's going to be the disaster. And, of course, exactly the opposite of those things is what happened. And we never know how these things are going to go. So in principle, I sort of agree with what Matt is saying, but the problem is you never know which winds up being the right situation. Tim, what do you think of it all?
Well, I would also say this, good memory, Greeny, because like who was saying that Houston was this great situation with this amazing supporting cat? Like, that was not the case. Someone I don't know, maybe Hembo can go research who actually thought Houston was some remarkable situation for a quarterback or solid supporting cast for somebody to have success. Guess what happened? They got it right on a bunch of draft picks, and the quarterback ended up being a really good player. And D'Amico Ryans and his coaching staff did an incredible job. But nobody thought that that was the case in February of 2023. So if you have a quarterback that can play or you believe can play, go get him because he might help you get there faster, which is exactly what C.J. Stroud did in Houston.
All right, and so we've talked about the Bears at number one, and we've talked about the Patriots at number three. We've left out the Commanders at number two. And for this topic, we need to bring in an expert. Here is our commander, Tim Legler. Born and raised a fan of the Washington football franchise, excited as he can possibly be, and he is reporting for duty, season ticket holder. Legs, it's obviously been a tough, 2 generations for your team, but now it's a new beginning. So what do you want them to do with the second pick?
Is it sad to say this is the best time of the year to be a Commanders fan?
Yes,
Not
of course.
during the season ever. That's just frustration. Look, this whole conversation that you all just had is a completely moot point. Drake May is going to be picked at 2. Okay? I trust the law firm of Peters, Kingsbury, and Quinn.
Okay.
They're going to select Drake May if he's available at 2. So this is all a nice move up to 3 to get him. I'm listening to what my man Tim Hasselbeck said about Drake May. I'm all in on Drake May. I've heard too many things about Caleb Williams that scare the heck out of me. Drake May, I haven't really heard that kind of talk. So I'm good if he's there. We take him. That's what I'm hoping.
So there's Caleb Williams, who the expectation is will go 1.
Yes.
And then the Commanders will be choosing between Drake May, we would assume, and Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner from LSU. And if you listen to Louis Riddick on our show yesterday, he thinks that he had one of the great seasons you'll ever see in college football last year, that he actually is as good a thrower of the ball as any of the prospects in this class. The only question about him is his frame. He is, for lack of a better word, slight.
Yep, and I think the last experience we had with a slightly built quarterback who made a big splash coming out was RG3, who had a very difficult time holding up. Now, I don't know if Daniels runs as much as RG3 did.
He's a good runner,
he was going to take that hit, and I think that's what I look at when I see him. I worry about that scenario playing out all over again. I don't feel quite the same way about Drake May. A little bit bigger size, bigger in the frame, more of a pocket quarterback. I think that's what Washington fans are looking for.
In case you were wondering if he took any big hits. That's a tough one to watch. Tim Hasselbeck, I mean, it's a serious question because, I remember one time years ago asking Mel Kiper, that same draft you're talking about, Andrew Luck went number 1, RG3 went number 2, and Russell Wilson went in the 3rd round. And I remember asking Mel Kiper, if Russell Wilson was 6'3", where would he have gone? And he said he might have gone number 2 behind Andrew Luck. Instead, he went in the 3rd round. Now, we've changed our perspective on how much size matters for these quarterbacks to some degree, Tim. But the frame of Jaden Daniels, how much of a concern would it be for you?
A huge concern. Look, because whether it's been Baker Mayfield, whether it's been Kyler Murray, anybody that has not been, like, I don't think you can be like, hey, look at the success Drew Brees had. Let's keep drafting smaller quarterbacks. Like, he's the outlier. So I think that, like, this is a game that is played by, like the most elite athletes on the planet. And so if you want to be at the very top of the draft, like, I don't think you start making concessions physically, athletically. I don't think you do that. Greeny, you might remember when I was on with you and we're talking about Mac Jones. Like, I don't think you make concessions athletically at the very top of the draft. I don't think you do that. Drake May is going to be compared to Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, Ben Roethlisberger. Like, that is what you're getting with that type of athlete, size, frame, all of it.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels is not, he's not short. He's not Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield and Drew Brees were shorter. He's tall. He's just very, very thin. In the meantime,